All right, for more on this, we have retired General Mark Kimmitt, the former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Political and Military Affairs, and he joins us now in the studio. Great to have you with us. The U.S. response to this latest operation by Turkey seems to be fairly muted so far. Why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, we know that there are plans for the operation, but we haven't seen a large-scale movement of forces at this point. I think we are watching and waiting to see what happens, and I think we'll have a response basically when we fully understand what Turkey intends to do.
So Turkey has been consistent that it can't allow the YPG, linked as it is to the PKK terror group, to operate along its border. They've been patient about this, but to what extent, and why does the U.S. continue to support the YPG, given the fact that Daesh has been on the back foot for quite some time?
Well, first of all, Daesh isn't on the back foot. There's still large pockets of Daesh remaining. We wouldn't be fighting in northern Syria unless there was a threat from Daesh. Number two, we certainly acknowledge the legitimate security concerns that the Turkish government have and the Turkish people have along that border. However, we are fighting against Daesh, an organization that took half of Iraq, half of Syria, set up its own caliphate, and was responsible for the death and destruction of thousands and thousands of people, thousands and thousands of square miles inside of Iraq. It is unfortunate that we have differences on the use of our use of the YPG in the Syrian Defense Forces, but this is why we believe dialogue is so important with Turkey.
Turkey would argue that this is at the expense of Turkish citizens. This is at the expense of Turkish soldiers. We had a Turkish soldier that was killed by a YPG group, a recent incident on that. So I guess how does the U.S. justify siding with the YPG over its NATO ally?
Well, first of all, we don't see it as siding with one against the other. We've been very clear with Turkey. We've been very clear with the YPG that our relationship with the YPG is temporary, it's transactional. It is not going to be a long-term relationship we have. We are now looking at moving on to the next phase, which is to train up to 40,000 local forces to provide stability in that area. That will not be exclusively Kurdish forces. It'll be a mixed force because we represent its mixed population in that area.
The U.S., as we know it, has placed these observation posts to prevent Turkish soldiers and the YPG from clashing. But does this not emphasize again that Turkey has a right to be concerned about its border?
I absolutely agree, and the United States absolutely agree that there is a legitimate security interest that Turkey has to ensure that terrorist organizations do not come into the country. Terrorist organizations do not come anywhere near the country. So a buffer zone is appropriate. We fully understand the need to have that. We are working with our NATO ally Turkey on not only the observation posts, but also in joint patrols. Let's be clear, we understand that this is a very, very difficult position that we put ourselves in because of our need to fight Daesh, while at the same time maintaining a strong relationship with our NATO ally. But with dialogue and friendship, I think we can get through this.
All right. Retired General Mark Kimmitt, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.